everyone. Today we're going to be talking about shades and tints in art. So a shade is whenever you add black to a hue. The hue is the original color. It's what we always refer to by their names, like blue, green, yellow, red, all those on the color wheel. And a tint is when you add white to a hue. So I'm going to start off by showing you how this works on my piece of paper. I'm going to begin by adding some blue to my page, just like this. This is going to be the middle of where my painting is going to be. And then on my palette, I'm going to pull some of the blue to the side, like this. And I'm going to take some of that white. I'm going to start by making my tint. You can already see it, plus you all might have known, whenever you add white to a color, it makes it a lot lighter. I actually think I need a little bit more white. I'm gonna grab that. So I want it to be a nice drastic difference. You can see next to the original blue, it's lighter. This is a tint of blue. Next, we're going to be using the rest of this blue right here. Moving over to the side, I'm gonna make my shade. Shades are when you add black. I'm not gonna take all the black. Black is a lot more pigmented. I'm just gonna take a dash of it. Mix that in with my blue real well. And look at how different those colors are. And there you have it. It's like a nice little value scale, as you can see. I have my lightest color, my middle color right here, and my darkest color. So we have a tint of blue, my blue hue, and the shade of blue. All right, so we are going to be using our sketchbooks today for this project. You want to open up to the next clean page. So I'm going on to my second page. This is the last project we did. And I'm going to be turning my page horizontally just because it's a little bit easier for me to work. You are going to be needing all 6 of the primary and secondary colors today. And then a black crayon, optional. If you have a white crayon laying around, this will be very useful. If you do not, you're fine, you don't need it. It'll just make life a little easier. So what we're gonna do first is you're gonna pick whichever color you would like to start with, not including black. This will be used later. So I'm just gonna pick random, let's see, eyes are closed, red. And I'm going to start by putting a circle in the middle of my page. My best advice for coloring in a circle, do some like swirly motions until it's filled in the way you want. Now don't press very dark with this. You actually want to be working kind of light. Then you're gonna grab the next color, whichever one. I'm gonna do yellow. I am just picking at random, but if you have a pattern in mind, go for it. And I'm gonna add another ring onto this. Same thing, just kind of swirling around. Next color. Repeat this pattern until you've used all 6 of these. And remember, you want to try and fill the page, so don't work too big, but not too small. All right, once you have all 6 colors on there, colored in lightly, that's a very important part. We're gonna move on to the next part. So this is our hue, but I would like to get in a tint and a shade. So I'm gonna start with my red in the center. Now, if you remember, when we were talking about shades, we need to add black. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna very lightly put a black circle around my center, very lightly, because the way that crayons work with mixing is you actually want to layer. So we did one layer of red, one layer of black, and now I'm going to press a little harder this time with red. Be careful not to break your crayon in half like I already have twice. And then we're gonna put a little bit more black on there. You just wanna repeat this process until you are happy with how your shade of red turned out. Kind of going for like a brick red color. And now this is where, if you have a red crayon, this will be super useful. We want the center to be the shade. So you can go over top with a white crayon. It doesn't lighten a whole lot, but it does blend the color together a little bit better, which is nice. If you don't have a white crayon, this way that you very lightly colored works just as fine. And then lastly, you're gonna get your crayon and you're gonna put the red hue in the center somehow to create a design. Let your creative juices flow. You can think about whatever you would like to do. I'm going to put a swirl. Just like that. It's a little hard to see. But if I keep going over it, it does come out a little bit more. And you can see all three colors in there. So now I'm gonna repeat the process around the other ones as well. So moving on to yellow, I am going to very lightly trace a black ring around. I'm going to grab my yellow, and I'm actually like really rubbing that yellow into the black. You can feel it as you work. The waxes, they start to kind of blend together and melt together as you move because they're heating up amazingly. Very lightly. Yellow is always a tricky one. Just like that, and then I'm going to put my yellow hue pattern inside that ring. You're gonna repeat this process for all the other colors, and you end up creating this kind of mandala pattern that I think turns out very cool. And actually everything we're doing this week is inspired by the dot. So I just really appreciated how in this book Vashti really just made some awesome dots and played around with different patterns and what can a dot look like. So if you get a little bit lost, you can always rewatch the video I posted of this book and check out how Vashti created dots. this is my finished, the dot inspired shade and tint circle. So I put a different pattern in each of these. If you would like to do the same, I really encourage it. I'm actually very excited to see what kind of patterns you all come up with. And then I wanted to show you all something, because there is another famous artist who also creates all sorts of circles. So this is a man named Wassily Kandinsky, and he loved to listen to music and paint, which is actually one of my favorite things to do as well. And one of his most famous things he created was this circle painting, as you can see. So each one of these has different colors in the rings, and he actually kind of made it in a grid, which I think is really cool. So just some encouragement. There are other artists in the past who have also been creating work just like this. All right, have fun, and I can't wait to see what you create.